Hi, everybody. I'm Clay, and this is the Deep Focus Show.
I'm Aiden.
I'm Davi.
And today we're continuing our coverage of Steven Spielberg. We have his 1997 classic, Amistad. Yeah, what are you guys' familiarity with this movie? I know I commented on the last episode that I did not like the movie poster, and I still don't. It has I just don't like the,
Very 90s looking, yeah.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I honestly forgot that he did this movie. Like after we did The Lost World, I was like, oh right, so what? Saving Private Ryan's next. I forgot this one was in between. Yeah, I don't think this one has quite been like canonized among his films in the same way, but I was still, excited to watch it and, give my commentary, I guess.
I guess this is also one of those forgotten Spielberg movies. People don't talk about this much, especially like what we just done, all the Schindler's Lists, and well, Saving Private Ryan is the next episode, and it got some Oscar nominees, but I don't know, like just
Hopefully
feels
for
like
Anthony Hopkins.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, uh, I didn't really know anything. Like, I didn't recognize any scene or anything like that. Like, kind of new for me.
Definitely a first watch for me as well. I can go ahead and get started. So, what is the movie about? The movie stars Morgan Freeman, Anthony Hopkins, and Matthew McConaughey, alongside Jimon Hounsou in his breakout role as Cinque. It's a historical drama based on the true story of the 1839 mutiny abroad aboard the Spanish slave ship La Amistad. The film follows a group of African slaves led by Cinque who seizes control of the ship and later finds themselves imprisoned in the United States. Facing charges of murder and piracy, the African's fate becomes a subject of a legal battle. And the case is taken up by a lawyer, Roger Sherman Baldwin, played by Matthew McConaughey, who argues that the enslaved people should be granted freedom as they were illegally captured and transported to the Americas. The legal fight escalates to the U.S. Supreme Court, where former President John Quincy Adams, played by Anthony Hopkins, who's incredible in this movie, ultimately defends the Africans, leading to a victory in their release. It explores themes of justice, freedom, and human rights, and is pretty much all about the abolition movement. And of course, in true Matthew McConaughey fashion, he plays a lawyer, and it's nice to see him in these types of roles, even if you know exactly what to expect because he always plays a lawyer. There's some foreign language in the beginning of the film. I wasn't sure if there were supposed to be subtitles or not. Um, and there's some pretty memorable scenes here, like where Morgan Freeman and Matthew McConaughey are working to try to communicate with Cinque's crew. Obviously, there's a lot of hard to watch scenes, particularly the scene where Cinque recounts how he got to America. There's just a very long sequence about that, and it's pretty hard to watch. And Anthony Hopkins delivers a fantastic monologue at the end. Um, this film does have some harrowing scenes, like much more than I expected from Steven Spielberg, but it does portray the absolute hell that these men, women, and children were subjected to. I think overall the movie has good intentions, but its portrayal of the Africans as largely passive victims waiting for white protagonists to act on their behalf is a bit much. So I'm going to light four because I do love a courtroom drama, but there's a lot to be criticized here. I just don't feel like I'm the person to speak for that criticism.
All
Fair,
right. Yeah,
fair, fair.
I guess I can give my review next. I think I'll echo some of the things that you said in terms of like I was familiar a little bit with like the history of this because we like covered it in like high school US history class, I remember. So I was kind of interested to see the portrayal. And I think for the most part, like it was a very good kind of summary and kind of exploration of this event in terms of I like what you said about like it marries kind of different tonal uh not tones, but different genres in terms of like it has that opening, which is very atmospheric, and then later it kind of has elements of the courtroom drama and these different influences that it's meshing in terms of telling this historical story. And I think the performances are really strong. And for the most part, I'm very impressed with like Spielberg's ability to convey this story. Like it speaks to, it speaks to his like restraint and ability to kind of tell a story without effects and things like that. Even though, my favorite movies by his are these like high concept blockbusters full of effects and stuff. But it is cool to see a very different side of him in the same way that it was cool to see it in like Empire of the Sun or also The Color Purple, even though I didn't like that movie very much. But this one, I like this one. So I'm gonna go a 4 star on it because I'm not quite sure if like on rewatch I'll get it into like my favorite Spielberg tier, like his true canon films, like I get like Jaws and Indiana Jones and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 star because I thought it was strong and but maybe didn't have that immediate click in the same way that like those ones I mentioned before did.
Nice. You're on the 4 star for both of you. So, Amistad, historical drama slash legal drama. Yeah, I don't know. Just I think that if I just think acting is pretty strong. Anthony Hopkins is probably my favorite performance, especially his end speech. The whole scene is pretty satisfying, and he shows a lot of emotions in the movie. And only like slight criticism for acting, I would say Matthew McConaughey was maybe a little over the top in some scenes. Like, I don't think he's really peaking yet. He's like really peaking in like 2020s, 2010s. And it had some nice visual stuff, like in the beginning when they're in that ship and you can see the thunder and lightning going on and all the flashing lights kind of. And the in the middle there's like the Tech Tekora slave ship scene. It was really brutal. And like I thought that was despite the horror, one of my like I think one of the best scenes in some ways. Like it was really effective, I would say. And I feel like overall I found it to be a little too long. Um, I was bored at some points, I gotta admit. Like I did look at the clock at some points, like 2.5 hours. I think strong beginning and some scenes with Cinque and strong end speeds by John Quincy Adams was my favorite scenes, and maybe like Spielberg doing some of these historical dramas aren't my like top favorite stuff. I think there is always good, but like isn't it doesn't have the rewatchable factor. And I think like if I'm thinking historical dramas, I feel like even stylistically, Schindler's List is much stronger. It does have some historical inaccuracies, but um, that I read, but but those weren't really a problem when I was watching. Maybe I just don't know enough. Yeah, just again, John Williams scores. We have the usual suspects here, and so I think it's a good movie, but I'm probably only going 3.5 for this one for myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
think that's
fair.
a fair score.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
interesting because um I rented a movie called The Lion in Winter that I'm gonna watch today with like young Anthony Hopkins when he was like in his
Mm.
20s. So I'm kind of curious to like compare the performances.
Nice.
Uh old versus youth.
Was that a 60s movie?
Yeah, 68.
Nice.
Oh
Um,
damn.
I think the oldest movie that I've seen Anthony Hopkins in was Elephant Man, which we did here.
oh yeah, probably 1980. Yeah, I think that's the oldest I've seen before checking out this one. Um,
Yep.
yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
he's so good.
Yes.
Oh
He's
yeah.
from Wales. Shout out Tom.
I
True.
didn't know that.
Um, I'm not sure how did they say it, but I almost felt like the movie was saying like the something like that the American Civil War started really after this, but was it like a 20-year?
Yeah, it would have been like 20 or 25 years later, I think.
I'm
Um,
not sure how did they say it exactly, so I can't really. I'm not
yeah.
faulting it, but like almost felt like it was the.
It felt like the
Mhm.
Civil War was much closer in this movie. I don't know.
Than it
Um,
was.
Yeah,
I think you
yeah.
could, yeah, it's kind of something where like you can kind of, it's like dramatic license, right? Where like,
mhm.
Mm,
they probably compress the events to make it seem more like punchy. Um, but I don't have that much of a problem with that, I guess. Um, but yeah,
yeah,
so,
yeah. It's
but that
basically
means,
just one scene in
yeah,
some
that
ways.
means next up we have Saving Private Ryan, which
Is that historical fiction too, or
that's like almost all fiction. Like it ha takes place in World War II, but the actual events didn't happen.
ah,
It's like made up for the movie. But I don't really care about that.
that'll be a first watch for me.
Yeah,
Also, AI, artificial intelligence, will be coming up too. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited to
yeah,
watch those movies.
And Minority Report too, which I've seen Minority Report and I've seen Saving Private Ryan. Um, yeah. And then we're getting to Catch Me If You Can. We're getting Andrew for that, right?
Yes, sir.
Finally,
yeah.
after like 17 years. Yeah.
Watch our
Uh,
ET episode. He's in that one.
hmm Yeah, it's so yeah, and we've been doing yeah, and we have other series going, so just check those out and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Yeah,
Oh
thank you
yeah,
for watching. You guys have anything else you want to say about this movie or this
Uh,
show?
I think we covered pretty much all the things I wanted to say.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Nice.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
See you guys next
See ya.
time. Take
bye.
Bye
care.
bye.